Where you came from, where you're going, two completely different places. Okay, so how do we know where we're going? It looks like nothing of where we've been. When I said shadow work's haunting the zodiac, shadow work is going to be super important getting close to the Libra full moon, because it's the shadows in ourselves that are the tension that show up in relation. A lot of times we think we've done the work inside, but we're actually avoiding the people, places, and things that have triggered that version of us. And so it's not that we've done the work to integrate that version, understand it, love it, embrace it, and give it the voice it deserves in a healthy way. It's that we just avoid the circumstances altogether, and that's how we solve the problem and say, well, we're healed because I haven't been triggered in however minimum of time. Except the moment that circumstance, situation, conversation comes up again, you're right back to the place you were when you first experienced it. That's unintegrated energy. So it does look like April is bringing something you journaled full circle back to you in a way that you weren't quite expecting. There's a lot of spiritual reference energy with the Hierophant coming through, but it could also be finally listening to the divine guidance and self, instead of, with the spiritual procrastination, instead of putting it off, actually embracing it internally again and allowing us to open up. And there's drawing too, so if you're into art, I would definitely let April's energy bring more of the artistic side, more of your artistic endeavors out. Where we came from, we definitely weren't sure of some kind of door being open, closed, what that future looks like, and that came through an internal self-betrayal. Some kind of circumstance in which you wanted to say no, but you said yes. You betrayed yourself, and that left you wondering if you would ever go back and have this opportunity again. Could be a job, could be a friend circle, could be people. It just gives the idea that there was some side of you that never really got to explore because it was overstimulated. It was choosing some kind of safety to avoid the shadow work. And then it says, okay, well, with the acting fake, that goes with the faking confidence too. But it's giving the idea of like, I agreed to do something that made me dead inside, but I know that there's opportunities for me to feel happiness, joy, and expansion. Like, you can alchemize the circumstances, any circumstance you're in. So it's like you agreed to it because you thought you could make it into something better faster, and it isn't quite working out the way you want because you never got closure on that other side of you. It doesn't mean that you need actual closure from the job, the friends, the people, the places. It means that you need to understand what version of you was being satisfied in those circumstances. What side of you was feeling joy, feeling fueled, and how do we cultivate that version of ourself for ourselves, where we're not betraying ourselves, we're investing in that version of ourselves, we're giving it time, space, journaling, existing, so that we don't rely on other people and other circumstances to bring that out of us. April's bringing an opportunity for you to really sit with yourself in a way that maybe you thought you had before, but like I said, there's some kind of full circle moment coming here. They're advising against doing too much for too many people. No sales, no discounts, no crediting yourself of any kind. Also, if we are getting overstimulated in public, making sure that we're using support teams, making sure that we're using the people that we can and doing what we have to. Don't get into a role where you feel like you have to perform to exist. You have to perform happy or perform good or perform kind or perform anything. There's definitely a warning against do not fake, do not act fake, do not try to fake it. Be as authentic. If you come on this energy, show in this energy, know that you're rooted enough now to speak through it. Even if it feels dysregulating, you are so regulated in how you're able to communicate. You don't have to put the mask on and pretend it's not there. There is an energy of an attempt to get something and something going awry. Be cautious with the people who could come in to attempt to get something from you, your communication, your throat, your energy, especially if it's going to dysregulate your foundation. It definitely feels like a conversation. If a conversation dysregulates the foundation, you have to be able to have it with yourself, dysregulate and regulate yourself, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to have it externally with other people. Does that make sense? Maybe sometimes the journaling can also be dysregulated. You're allowed to have that support. So say you intentionally dysregulate yourself so that you can work through the emotions. Have professionals, have a support team to know what's going on, have people sit with you, but they don't have to know what you're going through. Because whatever is, it's like someone wants to get something out of you and then turn around and screw you with whatever they're trying to get out. Why do I say that? Well, you got the move in silence. Now, yes, it's related to our money, but it's also related to the way we choose to alchemize or the way we choose to process. There's something about your process, your way, your energy being very discreet with the way you're moving. Time for a career change. This one was interesting because it feels like you could have gotten in bed when I was pulling 7 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. You could have gotten in bed in an emotionally excited way, right? Knights are immature, Cups are still fulfilling. They still taste great. They still feel good. You could have gotten yourself into a circumstance that felt really good at the moment, but it may not have all of the pieces, or you may not have all the information to the puzzle. Career change doesn't have to be, I was a doctor one day and all of a sudden I'm a librarian. Career change just may be leaving the current location. An opportunity in April will come up, or leaving a current collaboration, doing something that's a change. If your intuition's already been telling you, there could be somebody that you find out that's exchanging currency or money behind the back of someone else that you could have been trying to get into a deal with, and you have to sit there and say, is this going to go against my morals to witness this stuff? You could be working for somebody who's doing something under the table and shady. Yes, it seems balanced, but it is behind the back of someone else, and it's like, just because it could balance out doesn't mean that they're doing it in the just way. And you have to decide your morals, your ethics, what your foundations look like. But there is something that you've been growing and working on for the last 7 years that is also outside of this current career. So moving in silence to continue to nurture, to continue to garden that as well. With the immaturity, just know that you don't have to rush to feel a kind of way. To expand in your cups is to know that you always have those opportunities, those emotions inside of you, and you can daydream, you can journal, you can exist in that world and feel those emotions for that little bit, and then integrate that back into reality. What steps am I taking to get there? There is a perfect timing here, as in you're already moving in a time that you're getting in sync financially. You're getting in sync with the intuition. You're sitting in your higher authority. Even King of Pentacles under there. You're about to be sitting in that situation of having this resource, having this high authority to move these resources. And you're needing to have been patient to have that timing, to know that if you had rushed it, who's to say you wouldn't have spent it unwisely? Who's to say you were ready? You're finally getting into this position where you're ready to hold that level of abundance, hold that level. And it's been a timing that has been perfect in its time, but frustrating in the way that you process. The last money card is saying that career. So again, echoing, moving from some form of a change in April to a different change, or expanding in a different change. It's waiting literally on you. It's your move that does that next energy. Bottom of the deck, April is bringing wild emotions. So for every high there is a low, but it's about alchemizing that and you saying who you want to be in those situations, towards these people, towards these circumstances. And do I fake it? Do I say fuck it and avoid it? Who am I in those moments? Financially, I do think you're being solid on the opportunities. Emotionally, I do see a little bit of a struggle bus April, but I know it's April showers brings May flowers, so just use that energy to alchemize it for the beautiful bloom that's happening in you.